Well, here we are. I finished my first 30 videos and it's been fun. At this point, I feel like I should take a pause and let you in on my thought processes, planning, and implementation. Before I set up my channel, I made sure I had enough content, 30 videos, where I could post 2 to 3 times a week without interruption. I guess the take is that it takes so long for people to notice you on YouTube that when they do, you don't want them to forget you. Good thing, too, as I had no idea that these videos would take so long to do. My channel revolves around learning new things when you're older, the importance of lifelong learning. What I didn't realize was the amount of time it would take to get a handle on the software that I use to make these videos, as well as the amount of time it took to research the content for my scripts. After all, my channel is about an old broad that learns new things. That includes the software that I'll be using. So needless to say, there is, and always will be, a learning curve on this. If I had known how much time I would be investing, I might not have started this, but you get to video number 15 and you just have to see it to the end, right? My goal was to start uploading September 1st, 2022. That date came and went. I finally uploaded my first video on February 13th, 2023. Let's talk about what I learned so far. First, here's some advice. You can take it for what it's worth. The most important thing in my view is just do it. If you wait for the perfect video, you'll be in the grave before you get to that point, and it still won't be perfect. You need to like doing this. It's a lot of work, so you don't want it to be like taking a job you hate, like that crappy job you had at fill in the blank. I see all sorts of people advertising programs that claim they will not only help you get more views, but will tell you what you should make the video on. I guess it's because I'm treating this as a hobby, but I won't do a video on something I'm not really interested in. Pick a subject you like without thinking how much money you will or won't make. This doesn't seem to be a common belief among many YouTubers. Stick to your plan, but don't be afraid to change if things aren't working. Enjoy the process. To avoid getting frustrated when hitting roadblocks, avoid TMI. Too much stuff coming at you will just make you frustrated. The goal is to enjoy the journey. Don't try and be perfect. Accept that sometimes you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes you just have to let it go. My first 30 videos have more than a few things I would have done differently. Sometimes there can be bonus learning. I learned a little about Photoshop along the way. I found that I had to make some changes in some images I used and had to draw some illustrations. One of the illustrations I uploaded to Pixabay. Don't really know if they liked it or not. Lastly, the most important thing, at least to me, is to give it a chance. Don't pay attention to how many subscribers you do or don't have, and enjoy what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're older than dirt or a young whippersnapper. Ha ha ha, yeah. 2 subscribers. Very funny. Anyway, let's talk about how I did everything up to this point. For the first 30 videos, I used Doodly for the animations, Audacity for the voiceovers, Pixabay and iStock for images I couldn't find in Doodly, and Canva for my thumbnails. I knew I wanted an animation program, and let's face it, those animation programs are really cute. I decided on Doodly after looking at other animation programs. The programs I looked at were Doodly, VideoScribe, and Beyond. I decided on Doodly because it has a scene-to-scene linear layout and was reasonably priced. There are people that don't think that's true, but I'll get into that when I do the review on the software. VideoScribe is similar to Doodly, but it doesn't have a scene-to-scene layout. It has one canvas and the characters that are drawn fly in and out, sort of like changing a camera angle. I was more used to the scene-to-scene linear configuration of Doodly, so I chose Doodly. Plus, Doodly was cheaper. With Beyond, the characters actually talk and move around. The price was a little bit too rich for my blood, though. So let's take a brief look at Doodly. I'll meet you over there. When you first open Doodly, this is what it looks like. Down here, there's a timeline. This is where you put your scenes, where the characters are drawn. Right here is where the audio goes, whether it's music or whether it's voiceovers or sound effects or anything like that. Down here, you'll notice that there's another track, and it has a tiny little microphone next to it. What that means is that you can record your voice directly into the program. I have never done that because you can't edit your voice once inside the program. So what I do is I use another program called Audacity to do my voiceovers, and then I import it into Doodly. Right here, you have all these little buttons up here. You have one for complete scenes, you have one for characters, you have one for props, and you have one for text, you have one for sounds. Now, right here, I'm on the scenes one, and if you scroll down, you see all these scenes that you can use. So there's one of a wrecked car and a swimming pool, a cash register, an office, and etc., etc. Okay, here's a bedroom one, so let's take a look at the bedroom. Let's say we wanted a scene in our story with a bedroom. So here's the bedroom, and the whole scene will draw in itself. And if you look in the preview, this is going to take a few seconds because I didn't adjust any of the time. So you put preview and it will draw itself in. Every single little thing. A lot of people don't like that, so what they'll do, or what I do if I want to keep all the components of the scene in there, is I would change the amount of time that it takes to draw in each component of the scene. So this is the last part of the scene with the comforter and the pillows. Okay, so notice over here that you have a list of things. Each one of these things, like here is the wall, then you have the curtains, see how it highlights the curtains and all that sort of thing. But each one has a duration of 3 seconds. So 3 seconds can be an eternity if you're waiting for an entire scene to be drawn. So maybe you won't want that. Or let's say maybe you just don't want the flowers in here. So if there is an element in your scene you just don't want, you can get rid of it. So if we want to get rid of the flowers, we will get rid of the flowers by clicking on them and clicking the garbage can. Say, yes, I do want to get rid of them. And you can get rid of your flowers. So anyway, that's how the scenes work. Generally, I don't use the scenes a lot because in my scripts, there really isn't a scene that matches anything that I'm talking about unless I really want to alter a scene. So what I'll do is I'll just use characters and props. So right here are the characters. The characters are anything that is a person. So if you wanted, let's say if you wanted a character that was happy, here you get a character, you just type in happy, and here are all the characters that are really happy. This guy right here, Bradley, he seems to be really happy. And if you want to make Bradley bigger, you can just make him bigger like that. Then we have Camilla. She's really happy. She's jumping up in the air. And we can make Camilla bigger if we want to. I generally use a character a lot, whose name is Amanda. And there's Amanda. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll notice Amanda a lot. I think, okay, I'll drag Amanda in here. I think I use Amanda a lot because her name started with an A, and I just wanted to have a woman in there. So I used her, and once I started using her, I really, didn't use, anyone else. So you'll see Amanda a lot in my videos. Also, another character I use a lot is Mary. And Mary is an older character. And so I use her, mainly because, like me, she is an old broad. So there is Mary in there. Now, each of these characters, by default, have a duration drawing time of 3 seconds. So we have 4 characters at 3 seconds apiece. That's going to be 12 seconds of drawing time. So let's take a look at what 2 of these characters look like when they're being drawn on. So to do that, we just select the preview button up here, and there we have them being drawn on. So each one of those is 3 seconds apiece. What's interesting is once you export out your video, the drawing is going to be a lot faster, but it will still match your voiceover. So it's really not that much faster. Okay, so once we move from the characters, we now have props. So right here, props are anything like plants, animals, inanimate objects. I've used a few gravestones in here. So you just type in headstone and there's a headstone. And so we see that in there. If you want a tree, you just type in tree, and there you have a selection of a lot of trees in here. So you just pick the tree you want, and then you can resize it, just like you could the people. So let me see. I think I have this person. Here you have the Grim Reaper. I've used the Grim Reaper a couple of times. I don't have too many old people jokes, but here's a Grim Reaper. So you just pick the characters you want, pick the props that you want to add to your characters, and then you make out your scenes. Now the props are the same as the characters. They have the same time duration. And if you don't want this headstone to take 3 seconds to draw, then all you have to do is just to change the time, and it will draw on there much faster. So anyway, so we have the headstone and the Grim Reaper, and just like with the characters, we just punch the preview button and we can see them being drawn on there. And lastly, we have, well, not lastly, we still have text. The text will give you all these fonts. I am not a big font person. It's not that I don't think they're important. I've just never really got into it. So what I did with my videos, I just picked a font that I thought was cute. And the first one I was using for a long time was this double script bold font. So you just drag it in there, double click on it so you can write on it, and then you just type in whatever your text is going to be. This font will be black unless you want to change the color, and then you have to click on this color picker right here, and it will let you change the font. So I'm going to leave mine as black, say done, and there you've got Dancing Script Bold as your font. I used that for a while, and then I think I either got tired of it or I don't know why, but then I started using this one, Caveat Bold, and this will show you kind of the difference between. I have no real rhyme or reason. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I have no real rhyme or reason for the fonts I use. So I just thought, oh, that's cute. And so I use that. So there's your fonts. Alrighty. Then lastly, we have sounds. Now I know this is a musical note, but the reason it's called sounds is because this is where, if you're going to do a voiceover on an external program, this is where you import your your voiceovers. And right here you see these are called virus. Well, these are the ones that I use for my virus videos. I have not gotten rid of them yet. But there are a lot of other types of sounds that you can look at. So here are all of them. Here's one of a baby crying. And then you can kind of tell if it's going to be music or just a sound. Like this one is called A New Hope. And A New Hope is 2 minutes long, so that's going to be some kind of music. You don't have to worry about copyright infringement if you use this program. So if you stick to the music in here, you can import your own music, like I import my voiceovers, and there are some copyright-free sites out there that you can import some sound effects and music and stuff like that. One of them is Pixabay. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit too later on. So that's a rundown of how I did my animations. Later on, I'll be doing a deeper dive into this, showing you how it works without just throwing things in there and punching buttons. I'll also do a review of Doodly to tell you what I liked and did not like about the program. Audacity was the program I chose for my voiceovers. It's a free program, so it can be forgiven for not making me sound like Barbra Streisand. Let's take a brief look at Audacity. Audacity is a free software that you can use to edit your audio if you want. I really like it, number one, because it's free, and number two, I can edit it any way I want, take out those little coughs or lip smacks, and in my case, I have pretty bad allergies, so I have to do a lot of editing. I don't use the voiceover in Doodly because I can't edit the audio in there. So this way I can edit in Audacity and then I can just import it. This is what the website looks like when you open it up. All you really have to do is to hit the download Audacity button, and then it will download onto your computer. You'll probably get an icon on your desktop, and then once you punch the icon, then you'll get something that looks like this. So in order to record, this just looks like any kind of tape recorder. Oops, I'm showing my age, tape recorder. So you just kind of punch the button and then you can record. This video clip illustrates the Audacity waveform. And then you hit the stop button and then there you have it. Then you can edit it any way you want, normalize it, make sure it sounds okay. So let's see how it sounds. This video clip illustrates the Audacity waveform. And then you hit, this sounds a lot clearer than what I usually sound like. But anyway, then once you edit it, you can just go File and then export it. And export it as either an MP3, a WAV, or whatever you want to export it as. Normally it'll be an MP3. So anyway, that's what I use. I'll have a little tutorial on Audacity later on. Sometimes I needed images that Doodly didn't have. Fortunately, Doodly lets you import your own images. I used Pixabay and iStock for my images. Pixabay is free. They do ask for donations, so don't be one of those people with short arms. Fork over a few bucks and show that you appreciate their work. iStock is available by subscription. How much you pay depends on the subscription you want. Now let's take a short look at Pixabay and iStock. With Pixabay, you can get royalty-free images, video, music, sound effects, and GIFs. And down here you can see the links to each one of these. I'm on the home page right now, and all of this is absolutely free. They're going to ask you to make an account, but don't worry about that. That doesn't mean they're going to charge you for anything. So right here, You can get photos, illustrations, vectors. I use a lot of vectors in my videos. Video clips, which I've never used, music, sound effects, and GIFs. Now, in order to look for something, all you have to do is to type in what you're looking for in the search bar. And let's say I want to look for a dog. So I just type in dog, and up comes pictures, illustrations of all these little cuties, and you can pretty much pick the one you want. So that is Pixabay. Now with iStock, which is another account I have, you have to pay for that one. They have a lot more images, and some of them are a lot better images. I mean, it kind of depends on what you want to do. I have the basic program, which charges me $29 a month, and I get up to 10 downloads. So for $29 a month, I can get 10 downloads, which is cheaper than if I paid for them individually. So this is the pricing. I'll go into more detail about these two media sites, iStock and Pixabay, in a future video. Let's not forget that a YouTube channel needs some bling. To make my YouTube art, thumbnails, and banner, I used a program called Canva. There's a free version and a paid version. Let's take a short look at Canva. For my YouTube banners and thumbnails, I use a program called Canva. And as you see here, when you open Canva, this is the home page right here. And you have a few choices: documents, whiteboards, YouTube banner. I use that one, YouTube thumbnail. And I haven't used anything in Canva other than the thumbnails and the banners because I use the free release. I don't use the Canva Pro, which is what you have to pay for. So anyway, as you can see here, there's a link for the YouTube thumbnails. And so just to give you a brief overview, we'll click on that. And when we click on that, it will just open a blank page right here. You can either start from scratch, or you can use one of their many templates. Some of the templates are free, some of them aren't, and some of them are half and half. Like this one that I'm going to show you, the best mobile games. So I always use the templates, it's just easier. So we'll press on the best mobile games, and here we have a best mobile games thumbnail. Now what you can do is you can just change it to fit whatever you want to do. So if I want to make the thumbnail my first 30 videos, then I'll just change it. My first, next one, 30, and videos. Okay, so I have my first 30 videos. Now see this guy right here? Well, obviously this isn't me. He's a whole lot younger. But it has this Canva watermark on it. And you can't use this dude because you have to use the Canva Pro, which is paid for. So what you do is you just delete him. So you delete him and put him in the garbage can. And then I'll delete this too. And then what you can do is you can go over and take a look at some of the design elements. So here's some, and it shows what I've recently used and all that. So all you'll do is you'll just search the elements. I don't know if there's a video thing in here or not. So here's video. Oh yeah, there's a lot of them. So you have my first video, and you can just, pull one of the things over here, and then that will give you first 30 videos. That's not very imaginative, but I'll show you later on when I do a tutorial on one of these about how I do that. So later on, I'll get more in depth about that. So that's just a brief overview of Canva. So that's the rundown of all the software I used 30 videos into this adventure. I'll do reviews and a few tutorials later on so I can get more into the weeds. But I'm not done yet. Here is how I plan my videos. Here's how I plan my videos. First of all, here's how I choose my topics. I choose the topics I want to do. Sometimes I see something on TV or hear someone talking about something in the grocery store. Sometimes it's something that happens. For example, when Joe Burrow ended up with a ruptured appendix and Mike Florio stated the appendix isn't useful. That made me wonder if that isn't necessarily true. I jot the ideas down and then research them. Then I write the script. I take notes in longhand. I save where I got the information so that you won't think I'm making all this stuff up. I write the script in longhand and then type it. This may seem like a lot of work, but it gives me the opportunity to catch errors and to practice my typing, which is unfortunate to say the least. Then I do my doodly scenes and animations. Initially, when I drop the scenes in the program, it's more a storyboard than a finished product. Some people write their storyboard in a template or use a program. Lastly, I record my audio. I do my voiceovers externally in a program called Audacity. I don't use the mic in the Doodly program. In Audacity, I can edit the audio, and I can't do that in Doodly. The audio is imported into Doodly, and then the timing in the scenes is then adjusted to fit the audio. At that point, the scenes are refined, where assets can be added or deleted. Well, that's it. That's what got me my first 30 videos. Now the question is, who made me? Well, my name is Lucy, and I'm a puppet from Adobe Character Animator. Doing this video with this old broad was sure fun. And I'll see you around. Bye-bye.